Good evening, everyone. Today is Independence Day, and the real question that we need to ask ourselves is: do we really feel free and independent in our conversations? I'm pretty sure that you all have had a great day today, and would like to have your sharings about the experiences that you had in your conversations this week after our last series number 4, right? So, anyone would like to share? All right, I guess Meenu is driving or she is uh, commuting from one place to another. All right, so once you all settle down, I would like to take your sharing. And before that, now just describing a small scenario. It is just in the form of a small story. If you find any connection to this story, then this concept of reframing your next conversation is definitely for you. There is imagine that you have had some um not so good conversation with one of your friends, and it was actually it turned into a bad argument, and you were so sure that I'm not going to talk to this friend now. And then months pass, days pass, months pass, and you don't message this person. Yes, Suman, I understand that some network issue. So whenever you feel ready, you can share. Till that time, you can just listen to this. And then you just out of nowhere, this friend messages you, and you're like, and the friend messages you, I'm ready to talk to you. And so many thoughts pass through your mind, and you're thinking about that fight that you had a few months back, and you now remember how they were calling you selfish and attention seeking. And then you remember that conversation, the same conversation where you were calling them controlling and dismissing and criticizing of your actions. Now neither of you wanted to give in and reach out to one another. So you just have so many friends, common friends, that it is difficult to avoid this person. Now imagine that this person can be your close friend or family member. As I said, you're still not speaking, but you're there, you're hanging out with other friends, and this person is also in the group. And honestly, it is pretty awkward for you. It is really awkward for you to have this relationship going on, but you're like, okay, because there are other friends involved also. So when you get a message, I'm ready to talk, somewhere your heart melts. You think that, oh, that means this person has realized their mistake and they are ready to apologize. And then you say, why should I just be egoistic? Let me just, keep my ego aside. And then you say, me too. You message them, me too. And then what happens is they are offering you lunch tomorrow and you say yes. And then you are really excited to go for this lunch because what is in your mind is only about mending your ways and having a proper conversation this time and making a new start, right? This is all that is going on in your mind. And then you meet there. After a small talk, you break the ice and you say, what you said really hurt me. What you said really hurt me. And then your friend says, I hurt you. Are you sure? And now the tone is accusing tone. I hurt you? And now you repeat yourself, yes, what you said really hurt me. You didn't even care what you said and how it felt. And then you are like, what's happening? And then you say, but actually I was hurt. You didn't take care of the words that you used. And then your friend cuts you off and says, I wouldn't have said that. Come on, I wouldn't have said that if you hadn't reacted that way. And then you are like, oh my God, what's happening? That is not what was supposed to happen. I mean, this is not something that I had planned. This is not something that I was ready for. I was thinking that this friend has offered me to talk and have a nice, uh, quiet lunch because I thought that they are apologetic. I thought that they are really feeling for me. And then you're like, they are not supposed to say this. Why are they saying this? In your mind, you had pictured your friend apologizing and realizing how terrible they had been. And exactly the opposite is happening. And then shaking your heads, your anger is going up and up, your nostrils flare, your breathing is shallow, your eyebrows are like confused whether to go up and down. And now you're like, you'd say to yourself, fine. So, do you relate to this situation? Number one question, that you expected something else. For example, you expected the friend to apologize, and exactly opposite thing happened. In fact, they are accusing you. Right? Think about it. And then you fire back. Now you are not your normal. Me? Not at all. You started this, not me. Do you remember your face? Do you remember what had happened on that day? You had said this, you had said that, and then your friend says, I just find it so funny how you forget what you said and what you did. And there it goes. The conversation that you were expected to have, like, the person being apologetic, oh, it was my mistake, or I am so stupid for thinking that you actually were hurt and I really didn't notice, I'm so sorry. It was opposite, and the whole chain of blame game has started from your side, from their side. And then you're like, okay, you find yourself arguing with this person more and more. In your mind, you had planned something else. You felt that you will be more compassionate and understanding, and you will try to understand the perspective. But you are also not able to follow that protocol that you had planned, and you are absolutely going off the track. And you can see that you are going off the track, but you are telling yourself, this is about my self respect, and I cannot tolerate this blame game. Now, here the biggest challenge is to show compassion. How many of you agree with this? Even if we are talking about compassion every week, still in this situation, it is difficult not to just follow, but even to practice a little bit, right? And now, after a few minutes of a lot of blame game, your friend says, you know what? Forget it. We are never going to be able to end this conversation nicely. I know that you are not going to admit your mistake, and I knew that this was going to be a waste of time. I just thought that we should meet because we have been together for a long time, and we are meeting each other in the group of friends for a long time. But then this friend abruptly leaves, and the conversation goes nowhere. Now imagine this kind of conversation with any of your family members or any of your friends. Now you are left sitting there thinking, what wrong did I do? Right? And you wonder if this friendship is good for you or not. You wonder if the other person even cares. And you also start doubting your intentions now. Do I really care for this person? And the answer comes no. But as soon as you have that thought, you realize that you do care. You are not ready to give up. You do care for the friendship. You are not ready to give up. So you wish, now you are just sitting, going over the conversation again in your head, and you're like, I wish I had the right words at that time. I wish I had said this. Actually, I should have had some control over my emotions, and I should have used some proper language or proper sentences. Now, listen to this carefully because this is going to be something which you are going to relate with. The only thing guaranteed is in the communication. The only thing guaranteed in communication is that you are bound to say the wrong things. Even if you plan it 100 times in your head, you are bound to say the wrong things, and it is okay. So, this series, today's conversation, is not about correcting you or fixing you. It is about letting you know that why your next conversation often matters more than your first conversation. It is exactly opposite to what we have heard till now. Your uh, first your first meeting is the best. First impression is the best impression, right? Your first impression is the best impression. But the author says that initial conversations, like meeting someone for the first time, making the first impression, are important, but to a limited extent. Why? Because it will not remain a lasting one. This impression is not a lasting one. The first job interview, your first date, your first meeting with someone, your first meeting, your interaction with your prospective client, everyone, every every person involved in that meeting is guarded up, and you're putting your best foot forward. But as you keep on meeting this person again and again, you understand that in the first meeting this person had the best behavior. With time you come to know many things because shine wears off, right? Do you remember the same thing? How was your relationship with your spouse when you were meeting in your initial days, and how is it now? Is it different? Of course, yes, because with everyone, with every meeting, the shine wears off. So the exciting new hire turned out to be a terrible team player. You might be very excited for the person you liked for a few seconds in a party, and then with frequent meetings, the person said something, and you are absolutely off, and you are like, I cannot tolerate this person even for a minute. So even if you feel that first impression is the best impression you have, you feel that this statement is right, but in real life you have exactly the opposite experience. I just want you to ponder upon it a little bit, because there is something special about follow-up conversations that matter more than your first impression. Your follow up conversations make people feel more comfortable than your initial conversations, because when you are there hanging around for a pretty long time and still you are consistently making them feel comfortable with themselves, your value increases. That's why the next conversation can be closer to the truth than your last conversation. So instead of playing the story in your head about your last conversation, what you should have done, the better approach is to see how you're going to deal with the next conversation. Now, even if you don't deal with it, if you have had this experience of a hard fight or argument with someone, you will find out that the next meeting with such people is usually more healing. Observe in your life now. Take a heated, take, just remember about, think about a heated argument. Tensions mount. Two of you may begin shouting and you are really exhausted, making them understand how you're right. And this drain your energy and you're like, I am done with it. And if you meet them the next time, do you do you think that you will still have the same argument? Actually, no, because the intensity of that heated argument goes down. It takes a halt, and it may be this meeting may be after a few minutes or days or months or years, but eventually you find your way back to each other for the next conversation. You can just this gap or this space between you and them, you find out that it makes no sense to have this argument moving forward. And when you know that no one is going to win, you just give up on convincing them. So the second reaction or the next conversation can be, actually, I meant to say this. There was some misunderstanding. And even if this kind of understanding is not there, still you don't find yourself again in that rut. And somewhere, if the time gap is more, you both want to mend and restore. Just we don't know how. So the next conversation always has the benefit of hindsight and reflection. It's an opportunity to heal each other and reflect upon what happened, an understanding of what was missing in our first conversation. There is so much that you can do in the next conversation. Reframe your words and sentences, apologize or laugh over it. But then many times our conversation does not have a proper goal. So in the last sessions we have learned about how you should have a goal in your conversation, and the goal in the conversation is not to win the argument. The goal is to learn, not something to prove. When you have this goal of not not anything to prove, then you are more sorted out. Why? Because when you choose your goals for conversation that are unrealistic and unmanageable. For example, you're expecting too much from the other person. You're thinking that this person will come apologizing for what they have done. Or instead of telling yourself, like you say that I must fix everything. Or now when, oh, this person has shown me the readiness to talk, that means they are here to mend ways and everything is going to be perfectly fine after this conversation. हम फिर से एक साथ अच्छे से बात करने लगेंगे, सब एकदम से ठीक हो जाएगा. ये जो आपका गोल है, ये एक्चुअली दिस इज अनरियलिस्टिक. People are not going to change. What you need to change and what you can change is only the quality of your conversation, right? So instead of telling yourself I must fix everything right now, or everything must go back exactly how I want it to be, you can just make another goal. I and small goal. I am going to listen to what they're saying without interrupting. बहुत छोटी सी चीज है, लेकिन आप देखेंगे कभी भी आप आपके आसपास के लोगों को बात करते हुए सुनो, आपको दिखेगा जब दो लोग बात करते हैं ना कहीं से कोई थर्ड पर्सन आ जाता है और बीच में कुछ दूसरा टॉपिक या सेम टॉपिक लेकिन खुद का पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू या पास्ट रिलेटेड स्टोरी, दे विल कम अप एंड स्पीक. यू मस्ट हैव ऑब्जर्व दिस. और फिर वो दो लोग जो प्राइमरी टॉपिक में बात कर रहे हैं, उनका जो इंटेंसिटी ऑफ कॉन्वर्सेशन है, इट इज इग्नोर्ड इजीली. व्हाई? बिकॉज पीपल आर नॉट अवेयर that they need not that they don't have to interrupt the conversation. They are not aware. So your simple goal can be, I want to listen to this conversation without interrupting. As simple as that. Rather than demanding the moon, take that one step, small step towards understanding each other better. Maybe your goal can be a very small goal. When I'm going to enter into this conversation, I'm not going to react. I am not going to react. I'm going to listen to their perspective and I'm going to allow them finish. Now, here what I'm saying is not about being empathetic, not about looking at the world from their side. So this is a very small goal with no interruption. I listen without interruption. And number two, I choose not to react. So I will allow them finish. So how many of you feel that these small goals are possible? And if you think that this is not possible, then you can share your point of view and share your challenges as well. Even if you do these small two things, you are doing a great service to yourself, to the other person, and to your relationship. Not interrupting and not reacting. 90% of problems are solved here. Because most of the problems arise because of our negative and unnecessarily magnified reactions to small issues. And that also comes from our baggage of past experiences with the same person, and we think that itne baar ye ho chuka hai, abhi to I cannot tolerate this. Is your brain is telling you, your ego is telling you, and then you keep on reactive even more and more, and when actually the situation is so small, it can be solved very easily and you also understand it. That's why the goal is simple: not to react and not to interrupt. Two simple goals. Are you ready to follow this in this week? Yes, thank you, Meenu, for responding. What about others? If you are ready, then type yes in the chat box. If you think that I did not listen to this conversation, then you can go to the recording. But this simple practice is going to solve more than 90% problems in your relationships or in your life, because most of the challenges come from the relationships. We don't have many problems to solve in our lives. All the problems that you're talking about, hundreds of problems, they're originating from some breakdown or some disappointment in relationships. And imagine that if you just follow these two rules, how will that relationship look like?
The problem that I have faced, I feel, during these conversations, even when you are aware that you should not react, so many times out of habit, it just comes out. And then I want to retrace back also. But then by the time already वो चीज हो चुकी है.
Yes.
How to get out of that habitual thing.
Very good, Suman. Appreciate your honesty about asking this question. And this is the real life problem actually, what you're saying. क्योंकि जब हो जाता है ना, तब हम अवेयर हो जाते हैं, अरे मैंने रिएक्ट नहीं करना था, ये मेरा रूल था इस हफ्ते के लिए, बट आई रिएक्टेड. तो जैसे ही आप नोटिस कर लेते हैं ना, फर्स्ट योर फर्स्ट वर्क इज टू सी हु एम आई कॉपिंग. Am I copying my mother? Am I copying my father? Am I copying my sister or brother? Or am I doing this just to be good and right in my parents' point of view? When you start asking this question, you will get actually the root of truth, that you will get closer to the truth. The truth is that it is not about whether I am right or wrong in that situation. I am actually copying someone in my life. Now ask yourself another question. The person that I am copying, does this person have 100% wonderful empathetic connections and relationships with all the people? If no, that means they are also on their learning path. And my learning path and their learning path can be different. This means I can choose to be different from them. Because if they haven't cracked that formula, I don't need to copy them. Why do we copy people? To take something that will be useful for our life. And when we say that every person has their own journey, this also means if they have their journey, my work is not to correct them or fix them. My journey is to see what I can unfollow and what other principle I can adopt in my life as my choice, which will be better for my relationships. As the author says, your work is to focus on your next conversation and not to play the story of your last conversation, because your last conversation can be terrible and the next conversation will always be better than this, if you are aware. This way you are breaking the patterns that you are carrying. This way you are also helping your next generation not to follow the same generational patterns of conversation skills. And they can be better communicators than us.
What I have realized from the last week observation of the conversations of copying, na, which mother, father, and all. So what I saw during the conversation is not I'm not copying their behavior, but I'm copying their expectation.
Yeah.
What they expected out of me, I'm copying that and wanting the same thing out of my children. Their
Correct.
reaction is not similar at all. Their way was very different from my way. So is that also one sense of copying only?
Yes, of course, you're copying the expectations now.
Yeah, yeah.
We are copying the expectations, and I can totally relate to it soon, because I had been there where I was also expecting my children to be that which I couldn't be to my parents. And I was like, मुझसे तो इतनी ज्यादा अपेक्षा थी, like for if you ask me, my father is an extremely organized person. उनके कबर्ड में अगर एक चीज 1 इंच भी हिल गई ना, तो उन्हें पता चल जाता था कि उनकी चीज हिल गई। तो अगर उन्होंने हमें बताया कुछ लेकर आना है, तो वी यूज टू बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल, क्योंकि डांट पड़ती थी अगर कुछ हिल गया तो। Now I have seen that standard of being organized and cleanliness. So now when I have my children who are not very organized, I have a lot of expectations. They should do this, they should not. And in past years, some years, I used to get angry and pissed off with every member of my family, because the things were not placed on at its place, or it was not organized, it was not clean. But then I could see that my reactions, even if are very less, means it is not as intense as my parents had. It is not that I'm very mild. I'm a mild parent, milder parent than my parents. But still, it was not working out, because it was not making my children feel that they should do that. And it was an everyday battle. So when I look back, I found out that I am expecting out of my children what my parents were expecting out of me.
Mm.
So better way was not to follow the expectations and reactions. The better way can be to show them how organized life can bring more peace. They should just see you do that. Even if they don't listen to you or they are not following today, but ultimately what they see in you, they are going to follow. They are going to follow. I'm not giving you the false hope. I started following my father's principle at the age of 35. And many times we just oppose them. At that time, I found everything he did was absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. And I have had many arguments with him. Sometimes, we didn't talk for many months or weeks. But then with time, you get some time to reflect, and you find out that, oh, this works and not this doesn't work, and you start following it in your life. And your children don't have a choice, they only become that which they have seen growing up. जो वो देखते हैं वही बनते हैं, तो आपका काम उनको शब्दों से ज्यादा अपने एक्शन से दिखाना ही है. Sometimes to have a conversation is important, but in that conversation you need to see whether you are looking at them as at the same level as you. If you have this hierarchy that I am a parent and you are a child and you must listen, they are never going to listen. Just a discussion, a small discussion. For example, my son has come over, and many times I feel that I am objecting to his way of living. For example, keeping his room tidy. Now, when we just last a few days back, we were having a conversation. So I didn't say you tidy up your room. I just sat down with him. What do you think? How can you focus in your work? Because most of the times he's working on his computer. What do you think? Having a tidy room, does it affect the focus of a person? So just a conversation. Now I am not including him. And then he's thinking, yeah, so what do you think? Tidier room is better or messier room is better? Tidier room is better. What do you think? Germans are better at making their bed, or Indians are better? Because he's in Germany. So yeah, obviously Indians have so this. Oh, okay. You can see that, right? Yes. So are there means there are many things that we can learn from them. Yeah. Oh wow. So from when you come next time, I would like to see that positive change. You're very good, but of course there is a scope of becoming a better one. Yes, yes, yes. Of course. It's a peaceful conversation, because you're just discussing. You're not advising. You are making them see the gaps. You're not showing the gaps. बच्चों को ऑब्जेक्शन कब होता है? जब हम उन्हें बार बार दिखाते हैं ये गलत है वो दिन. बट व्हेन यू मेक देम थिंक, that they can see the gap, even if they don't see, they don't show the change immediately. The seed is planted in their mind. Their actions slowly will go to that goal. Just follow this. This is a very small thing, but you have to have this friendly conversation. You cannot have a power game there. Will you try this, Suman? I understand that this is challenging.
Yes, yes, definitely. You know,
I understand it is challenging, but it will work because this is the real life sharing that I am telling you. I'm not giving you any story from any book. The same evening, then I went to his room and I said that, okay, so the room was not tidy. So I was like, uh, how about if we just have dinner? But if what if we have dinner after this? Can I help you? So this is a very empathetic approach. And he's like, no, 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 no. I don't need your help. I will do that. And he did that. It was just 10 minutes job, but he was not doing for 8 to 10 days. It was all scattered here and there. He did it. And the next morning we talked and I was like, wow, this room looks so nice. So nice. So I'm feeling like studying here today. So that becomes like an appreciative remark. And there is a peaceful atmosphere. Imagine if I start, ये नहीं करते, वो नहीं करते, ऐसा रहता है, वैसा रहता है, वो और नहीं करेगा. तो मम्मी तो बार बार बोलती ही रहती है, क्या सुनना है. Suman, prepare this conversation in your mind first.
mm,
It's okay to
yeah,
go wrong. It is okay to go wrong. Allow yourself to go wrong. Trying it is more.
my conversations have become like a battleground, you know. I'm preparing for the worst. Now I'm going to prepare in my head in a different way, the way you've just guided.
I don't know whether your network was there when I was sharing the story. Meenu has heard it that what we prepare in our head and what happens in reality is exactly two opposite things. So it is not about you. You can just see the battle now. This is the battle that is going on in everyone's head and everyone's relationships. The beautiful part is the next conversation we can reframe the next conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. And please come and share your experience and journey in the next session so that we can really see how it is working. Because I'm also following these principles. So we can have a conversation together and we can learn from each other. Right. So thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone would like to share or ask any question, you're welcome.
मैम जैसे आप बोल रहे हो ना इंटरप्शन एंड रिएक्शन को होल्ड करना है पता नहीं कहाँ से ये है सॉल्यूशंस में लाइट चला गया सॉल्यूशन से एक बहुत आता है तुरंत सॉल्यूशन देने का बहुत ऐसे होता है कि तुरंत सॉल्यूशन देना है
हाँ हाँ राइट
दैट इज वन
राइट
सॉर्ट ऑफ
यस सामने वाले इंसान को आपसे सोल्यूशन चाहिए ही नहीं. जो विजडम आप में भरा है ना वो सामने वाले इंसान में भी है, लेकिन हम ही ये भूल जाते हैं. आपके अंदर जो इनर गाइडेंस और इनर विजडम है ना दैट इज प्रेजेंट इन अदर पर्सन ऑल्सो. अभी जो मैंने शेयरिंग किया मीनू, उसमें क्या आपको लगता है मेरे बेटे को पता नहीं है उसकी रूम उसने अच्छे रखनी चाहिए? ऑफ कोर्स पता है, सब पता है, but they don't do. So our work is to make them think and take action, not to give them solution. Because again, it is about we going in the trap of proving self right. जो मैंने कॉन्सेप्ट बताया ना वो सही है, तुम जो कर रहे हो वो गलत है. जैसे ये मैसेज गया, सामने वाले इंसान ने आपको डिसरिगार्ड कर लिया. अब आप कुछ भी बताओ वो नहीं सुनने वाला है. Yes, so Meenu has some network issue. So Yes, Swapnil. Swapnil, so my question to you is that can you help yourself to reduce the intensity of this battle?
Yeah, am I audible? Yes.
Yeah, of
So,
course you are.
yeah. So it's not like we use the intensity of the battle. We just want to left out of the war.
Yeah, good. But then here you say that I know we are not organized generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are again labeling yourself and limiting your potential.
Not labeling as in, it is just the trend we follow, the lifestyle we follow that makes us lazier.
No, it is not something which is your generation, my generation, other generation, or
Okay.
actually you all are alive in the same world,
Yeah.
right? So, this generation concept is also so much flawed because
Yes.
it separates
Correct.
families. It creates separation in the family. Ye generation, wo
Yeah, that's
generation.
true. It's
Actually,
create an echo divide.
absolutely, every person is a human being at the end of the day. And if you are alive and going through this journey of life at the same time, then this can be also one generation. So maybe we are all the same generation and we are just dividing it 5 years का change हो गया तो ये change हो गया फिर Gen Z and Gen Y and what that and no, so many words are there I don't even know, but at the end of the day everyone is a human being and everyone loves to be organized. Everyone, if Swapnil, I ask you a question, if you just go somewhere and check in into a hotel room, do you like that hotel room to be organized or do you like uh, the room to be disorganized
Organized.
as if someone has used it and it hasn't been cleaned?
Organized, but I love to disorganize it after entering.
Yeah, but when you
That
enter,
is a
you
basic.
want others to organize it for you, right?
Yeah.
That means the basic need of everyone is cleanliness, being organized. It is not like you're choosing to be disorganized. It is just like you don't want to tidy up the things because it is not a priority at that moment. Priorities change, and that's okay. It is not about you should be perfect. It is just about what your parents want, actually, you also want. We are thinking that we are against them and they are against us. But what if we are from the same team?
Understood. Instead of being on the opposite team, try to be on the same team.
Yeah, it will change a lot in your mind. Battle is over
Understood.
now.
Okay. Understood.
If the battle is over, then is there more peace now?
Yes, absolutely. There is no need for unnecessary fighting in this.
Great, great. Appreciate your open mind and your open heart to just take this as it is. Yeah. Thank you very much. See you on the next Friday and see you on next Friday with our next reframing of conversation, because the goal of this series is not to force you into empathy. The goal of this series is not to just force you to go in another person's shoes and look at the things from their point of view. The goal is to rewire your brain in such a way that you're only working on yourself and your reactions, and things will start changing in the outer world. Let's see what we discover in our next series. Till then, take care, bye bye, and make sure that you also enjoy and experience freedom of emotional expression in a very subtle, empathetic way through your conversational skills by applying these principles.